Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. The paper I've chosen today is 2024 June 3-2. All right, so let's begin here. We're going to look into spreadsheet here. So before you start, you make sure the folder provided has all these files. You're supposed to double check. All right, now here. Giraffes are endangered species only found in parts of Africa. You will analyze data on giraffes that have been rescued, tagged, and returned to the wild. So let's begin with first task, evidence document. Create a new word process document. Open a new Word document. And here you will have to add in your candidate details so that it appears on every page, which means it is either a header or a footer. Insert a header or a footer and type in your candidate details. And then save this in your work area as J32 evidence, center number, candidate number. All right, save it in your work area. That is your folder, the folder that has been provided as Word document with the file name J32 evidence underscore center number underscore your candidate number. All right, now have this file open. We will need it to place screenshots later. All right, now moving on to the next step, task 2, spreadsheet. Open and examine the file J32 giraffe. Open the file J32 giraffe. Okay, adjust the column size so that the text, all the text is fully visible. And then next step, this file will be used in step 2 and 3. So do not make any changes to these files. Now open and examine the file J32 sightings. Open the file sightings. And again, adjust the column size here. All right, now next is, Save the file sightings as spreadsheet with the file name giraffe followed by your center number and candidate number. So file, save as, remember, it has to be in your work area and in the format of Excel workbook. The file name, giraffe underscore your center number underscore your candidate number. All right, now rows 7 to 25 will show the number of sightings of the tagged giraffe in each country for 1 week. So you need to know from 7 to 25. From 7 to 25, these data, it's going to show the number of giraffes that have been tagged, okay? Number of sightings of the tagged giraffes. Whereas row 28 onwards, it will show details of all sightings for this week. So from 28 all the way until the end, it shows the records of all the sightings, not just tagged. All right. Now place your name, center number, candidate number, center align in the header. All right. Insert header and footer, center align in the header. Type in your name, center number, followed by your candidate number. So anywhere in the footer, this doesn't mention where, but it has to be in the footer. So scroll down to footer. I place it in the center. Type in the text created on, followed by a space, then automated date, space, at, space, time. So created on under header and footer tab or the design tab, current time, space, at, space, current date. Created on current date, space, at, space, current time. Okay, so to get back to normal view, click on view tab, normal. Okay, now next, place a replicable formula in cell D28. Okay, place the cursor in D28. All right. Here, they are asking us to look up. Okay. Now here the formula we use is VLOOKUP because the data here, all the records here is in vertical direction. So it's VLOOKUP. Okay, vertical lookup. to look up the species. All right, so from the function box, get the function VLOOKUP. Okay, now the lookup value, the question paper here, it says using the code. So that is going to be your lookup value. We have the record for code in column B. Okay, so the first record of code will be your lookup value for this record. All right, table array. Place the cursor in table array. They say the external file giraffe for the array. So open the giraffe file, highlight all the records, only the records you highlight, which is from A2 to F12. All right, you don't highlight the first row because those are the field names. All right, so you don't highlight them. Now next, column index number, you're looking up for species. You're finding species. Species in the giraffe file is in column C. So you count the number of columns. Column A is 1, B is 2, and C is 3. So your index number is going to be 3. And range lookup is false, because we want the exact answer to be fetched from the giraffe file and displayed here. If it is an approximate value you are looking up for, then your range lookup will be true. All right, so here we want the exact answer, so our range lookup, we set it to be false. And there you have the answer to be West African giraffe. All right, continuing. Place a replicable formula in cell F28. Okay, place a cursor in F28. Now here, again to look up the status using the code and external file giraffe. So we look up again using code B28, table array, the external file giraffe, again A2 to F12, all the records, column index number. Now here we are finding status. Status there on the other file is in column F. So count the number of columns, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So index number is going to be 6. And your range lookup is going to be false because we again need the exact answer. All right, so you get the answer to be critically endangered. All right, now moving on to the next step, replicate the formula entered in step 2 and 3 for all sightings. So move the cursor. Click on cell D28, move the cursor to the bottom right corner of the cell, you get a plus sign. Click, hold the mouse and drag it all the way until the end, which is row 97. All right, the same thing you may do for the other one, F28. You may also double click on the plus sign. Move the cursor to the bottom right corner of the cell, double click. It will automatically replicate the formula to the rest of the cells. All right, now next, place the cell in B3. Okay, B3. Okay, it's here. In B3, a formula to count the total number of sightings for this 7-day period. Total number of sightings, not just tagged giraffe. So we saw earlier total number of sightings. All the sightings starts from 28 all the way until down, row 28. So it is to count the records from 28, row 28. So the function we use here is count A. Okay, find for count A. Okay, count A. Now why we use count A is because it will count the number of cells in the range that are not empty. Okay, if you have highlighted any cells that are empty, it will skip those cells. It will not count those cells. All right, that is the reason we use count A here. So you can highlight any one of the columns. So I'm going to highlight from B28 to B97. Click OK. And there you have the number of sightings in 7-day period. Now moving on to the next step, in cell B4. Place the cursor in B4. You're supposed to find the formula to count again the total number of sightings for the 7-day period, where a photograph of a critically endangered species was taken. So here there is a condition. There are two conditions. One is photograph and the other one is critically endangered species. But again, you have to count. So this count with conditions. Okay. So it's going to be count ifs. Okay, if it is just one condition, so it is count if. Now here we have more than one condition, so it's count ifs. Okay, now the range we highlight is, let's do the first one, which is photograph. Photograph here, photographic evidence, we have it here from G28 to G97. Okay, from G28 to G97. And then the criteria, they say the criteria here is photograph was taken. So we have the photographic evidence. So your criteria, it is the records here is either yes or no. So photographic evidence, the condition is going to be, the condition is going to be yes. The criteria is going to be yes. And then range 2 is the second condition here, critically endangered species. So critically endangered species, the status of the records here, so that is gonna be from F28 all the way until F97. All right, so here we are looking for critically endangered. So type in that criteria. Make sure the spelling, the format, everything is similar to the one in the record there. Okay, click OK. You get the records here, number of records, but there is something else to be counted here. They say the formula, oh okay, there is no replicable formula. Okay, then it's fine, you don't have to make it absolute. All right, so this is done. Moving on to the next question. Insert a new row between row 5 and 6. So in between row 5 and 6. So place the cursor on row 6, right click, insert, you get a new row. Place in cell A6 the text critically endangered. A6. Endangered. Okay, critically endangered. Now, next, place a replicable formula in cell B8. So, replicable formula is, it must be easy to replicate, okay, which means you need to make it absolute. So, I'll show you how to do that. Place a replicable formula in B8, place a cursor in B8 to display the number of sightings of a critically endangered species in this country. All right. So they are asking us to find only for this country. In B8, it is for this country. So it is a condition. So we're gonna, first thing is you're gonna count, okay? And it is a condition as well. And it is, the second condition is critically endangered. All right. So you're gonna count, and because it is asking us to display the number of sightings, so it is count, and then critically endangered is a condition for this specific country. That's another condition. So it is more than one condition there. So similar to the previous formula, it's count ifs. Count ifs. All right. Now the first range is critically endangered. Let's do the first one to be critically endangered, which is the status here, starting from F29 to F98. And then the criteria is critically endangered. So this is the criteria we are looking up for. All right, next. Next is, the next criteria is we are looking up for the country. Okay, so the country here, we have it in column E. Yeah, so that will be your next criteria. Highlight. And then the second criteria here, we are looking for this country. Which country? The record here is for the country that is in A8. So that cell will be your criteria 2. All right, click OK. You will get 0. We are not yet done with the formula. All right, so what you need to do is, they say it is supposed to be a replicable formula. As I told you earlier, it has to be made absolute. Which are the cells that should be made absolute? Okay, this range, your answer is going to be here in B8, whereas this range F29 to F98 is another table. So the first table ends in row 26. 28 is another table. So you're fetching the range from another table. So in such cases, you need to make it absolute. That is, you have to add dollar signs in between. So you highlight the range in the formula and press function F4 key on the keyboard. So you get the dollar sign. The same thing applies here. Your value, your answer is going to be in B8, whereas the range is from another table. E29, row 29 is another table. So this has to be made absolute. Again, highlight the range and press F4, function 4 on the keyboard and click OK. You get the answer. All right. And then you need to replicate this formula to each country. So move the cursor to the bottom right corner of the cell. Click on the plus sign, hold the mouse and drag until A26. So you get the records. All right, I hope that was clear this so far. All right, now the formatting. Format the top of the spreadsheet to look like this. All right, so let's start with an A1 and B1. A1 and B1 is one single cell. Highlight, home tab, merge cell, and then row 2 is not fully visible. Reduce row height. Move the cursor to the line between 2 and 3 and drag up. All right. A3 and A4 is right aligned, and you see the text is wrap text. Okay, A3 is wrap text. So apply wrap text. Again, A4 is also wrap text. And then to make the text appear in 2 or 3 lines, you will reduce the column size. Okay. And the row height. So A3 in 2 lines, A4 in 3 lines. So reduce until the text goes to 2 lines and 3 lines. Okay, 7-day. 7-day has to be in 1 line, and period in the next on the next line. Okay, now the font size. The font size, they have not mentioned any font size. Oh, they have. Row 1 to 1 and 6 is 20 point font size. So increase the font size to 20 and apply bold. This also must be applied with wrap text. So reduce the column size for column B and the row height so that the text is fully visible. And set the font style to be Arial. because the ends are rounded. Okay, now next, B3, B4 center align, B3, B4 center align and middle align. And then row 5 is not fully visible, so reduce the row height. Next, A6 and B6 is merge. And then 20 font size increase it to 20. Apply bold, Arial font style. Okay, make sure the text is fully visible. 7, center align, bold. Number of sightings has to be in 2 lines, so apply wrap text, middle align. Now next, the country and number of sightings. Country is right align, number of sightings center align. So highlight the countries, align right, highlight the number of sightings, align center. All right. Okay, now continuing, save your spreadsheet. Okay, now I'm showing you how to print your spreadsheet showing formula. Make sure that, okay, let's get the formula first. Formula tab, show formula. It gives you the formula, but make sure you highlight the spreadsheet and adjust the column size so that formulas are fully visible. And then it has to be in landscape orientation, page layout, orientation, landscape. Row and column headings must be displayed. So under headings, check the box print. Okay, if you don't check the box here, it doesn't show the row and column heading in the printout. So when you check the box to print, there you have the row and column heading. And then formula must be fully visible. Make sure the number of pages is not too many pages. So in order to set the number of pages, click on page setup, fit to, maybe you can set it to 1 page wide and 2 page tall. So there you go. Okay, if you want to increase it, you can increase it to 3 pages. I think this should be fine. And choose the correct printer and click print. That will be your first printout. Okay, now let's get back the values. To get back the values, formula, show formula. Before you print, make sure the columns, whatever you've done earlier, the formatting is applied correctly. Okay, now next, select rows 1 to 7 inclusive and only the rows between 8 and 26. Okay, so you need rows 1 to 7. Okay, you need 1 to 7. And then from 8 and 26, only 8 and 26 you need. From 8 to 26 is until here. So only these records you are supposed to print the values, but here they say where a sighting took place. So here if you notice, there are certain countries where number of sightings are 0. So you don't need those values to be printed. So which means you need to filter them. Highlight A7 and B7, go to Home tab, sort and filter. So click on the arrow next to number of sightings and unselect 0. You must provide a screenshot of this. Take a screenshot. And then click OK. So now it will filter and show the field records that have countries that have sightings. So the step number here is supposed to provide a screenshot. Step 11. Paste your screenshot. Then come back here. And now you're supposed to print the values, only these 1 to 7 and 8 rows between 8 and 26. So 1 until 26, the filtered records. All right, so it's basically until 22. So go to page layout, print area, set print area, and then fits on a single page from the page setup, fit to one page, and then printout is in portrait orientation. Orientation must be portrait. Row and column headings must be displayed. Make sure the headings are set to print. And then contents of all cells in the selected rows are fully visible. Make sure all the contents in the selected range is fully visible. Now when you print, that is going to be your printout, the second printout. Okay, so I think that's the end of this task. Yeah, so I hope that was clear. See you guys in another video. Thank you. Bye bye.